Alrighty. Sorry guys, this one's all over the place today. Rachel, what's going on? I can't hear you yet.
I'm unmuted now.
There we go. Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to have you on here. We've been on some calls together, and so it's cool to get you on here.
Yeah.
So a lot of you have probably seen Rachel in the group. You've saw that she just recently got a deal, so it's super exciting. But I just want to get to know you a little bit more. Let the people know like what you're about and like kind of your background and whatnot. So, Rachel, so where are you living right now?
I am living in Madison, Wisconsin.
Awesome.
Yeah, for the next 7 days, and then I'm moving to Colorado.
What part of Colorado?
Just outside Boulder.
Gotcha. Is it like work for your husband or just you want to move to Colorado or?
Yeah, pretty much. He's actually already there. He moved in December for a promotion. So
Oh,
I finished out nursing school and I'm done literally tomorrow. And then I'm moving out. Yeah. So it's
gotcha.
very
That's
exciting.
exciting. So you're busy already.
Yes.
Cool. Well, like you said, I saw your thing in the group and kind of like your backstory and everything, but I kind of want you to like just tell everybody. So you said you're done with nursing school. How long does that take to finish nursing school?
Well, I've been doing it. I guess my prerequisites was 2 years and then 2 years for the core program. So it's been a long time. It's like very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm so done with being a student.
I bet that's hard. And you have
Yeah.
kids, right? How many kids do you have?
I have a 2.5-year-old son, and then I have 2 stepkids that are in
Gotcha.
their preteens. Yeah.
And a couple animals, right?
Yes, 2 dogs.
2 dogs. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's cool. And that was kind of like my focus was how like balancing is such a big thing with this. And like I talked before, just before we started this, but like how did you manage that? Like how were you able to do like you know what I'm saying, juggle all of these different responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just like, Nick's talked about just cutting out sort of the bullshit that we all do, Netflix and you know, I'm a victim of scrolling. I don't do Netflix anymore, but I still, watch a little bit of YouTube, and it's like literally minimizing that pretty much down to nothing was essential for me to be able to manage this plus nursing school, really. And then I actually had a full-time job until October. And at that point I was like, I can't do all of these things. But yeah, so basically I just kind of figured out where I could work in my day, like those little pockets of time when my son napped, staying up really late after he went to sleep. So that's essentially when I could get things done. And different phases of the journey, of course, like making the website and doing the landing page and things like that, those things could happen at midnight, right? But like making calls, that's where, I'd have to like carve out daytime hours to do that stuff. So
Yeah.
really just doing my schedule every single week and figuring out where I can get stuff done based on what I had to do that week.
So your planning was pretty essential to you being successful. I mean, you have to
Yeah,
be organized.
100%.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
like I would literally plan it in my planner, like lead gen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you obviously you're doing this right now. You got a deal, but like, what about this nursing? Obviously, you're going to pursue this, right? Is this like what? How are you going to balance both of these?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I had found lead gen when I was already in nursing school. So it's not like I was going to just like quit nursing school. But trust me, I thought about like, oh, why didn't I just find this before I went back to school for nursing? Like,
Yeah.
because I had been looking for, a viable online source of income for a long time, like a long time. And nothing really, I tried a few things here and there, but nothing really stuck or seemed like it could work, right? Like
Yeah.
long term and on a bigger scale. So yeah, it was like I just had to kind of get through it. And I still intend to work as a nurse. So with having a family and needing a job, essentially at this point at least, I'm working 3 12-hour shifts. So that's sort of my plan, is to do 3 12s, and it's a 7 to 7. And then the other 2 days a week is when I'll devote my time to lead gen. So it's basically like I'm just going to be doing it at the same time, essentially.
Gotcha. That's smart. And I think with those types of like even if you're like police officer or whatever, you kind of have to you have your days on, your days off. So you just kind of have to your sleep is very
Yeah,
important though. Like you need to be rested.
yeah,
But yeah, that definitely is possible.
for
Um
sure.
did your first deal was it easier or harder than you thought when you first came into this?
Well, I mean, technically, so this is my first deal as part of, you know, digital landlords.
Yeah.
So I did have another deal, but it was when I was still in the free group.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, and those were very different. But speaking to this one, it was definitely, I'm gonna say, just because of my personal situation with my nursing school program,
Uh-huh.
I felt like I couldn't put in enough hours on the phone that were required. So I think that, and that's why it took a little longer. So I think that, you know, when I'm finished with this, like if you have, you know, even one full dedicated day a week, even one half day,
Yeah.
you can really get so much achieved, but you have to be hyper focused in that time. So with the way my schedule was, I just couldn't. So things went slower than I think they would have, had I had, you know, a little extra time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'd say like it's just you do what you can do in the time that you have, and but you cannot underestimate the amount of time you do have to put in making calls. Like that's clearly like, and that's something I know a lot of people struggle with, and me too. Like I get a lot of anxiety before I make the call, but it's just like being prepared and having your list. So then once you make that first call, it just then you have adrenaline, right? Like
Yeah.
the anxiety's gone, it's adrenaline. And if you have 2 hours, you can make so much progress in that 2 hour time frame. So yeah, I don't know if that answers that question,
No,
but
that's perfect. Well, and me and Derek, we were on Derek Tuttle was on last week and we were talking about like it's weird, but sometimes when you're more busy with something else, you actually are more successful with this. Like it's kind of like everything is a
yeah,
domino effect. Like if you're busy with your
yeah,
life, you kind of figure out a way to like make it all work. And like if you're gonna work, why not work hard and just do it all at the same time? You know what I'm saying?
seriously though, honestly,
So
like I think being in the nursing program, it forced me to hyper focus in those little pockets of time that I had. And
yeah,
now that I'm done, and that's why I said to you, yes, I'm going to be working those 312s, but those other 2 days, like of course I'm not going to work like 10 hours straight, but
oh yeah,
it's going to feel like so amazing because I'm going to have these dedicated periods of time because I don't want to lose the momentum, right?
yeah,
I
exactly.
want to keep it going, keep pushing as if my schedule is super jam packed like it has been. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool. Well, that's cool. You have a like kind of a cool position where you're in. So you got two, you got something that you put a lot of work into. It's something you're still putting a lot of work into, but it's just something less schooling and stuff like that. But that's really
yeah,
cool that you're going to do that. Okay, so let's just get back into the deal. So what was the niche that you went into?
concrete.
Concrete. I love it. And what
Yeah.
how many leads did you send from start to finish? Like how many leads did you feel like was enough to solidify this deal?
Honestly, like so I think 3 leads. 3 leads was like he was ready to go. He just had a few questions and things that needed to be ironed out. And so like, you know, 5 in total was like he had signed up. Like
He was
he
ready. He was,
credit card in hand. But honestly, those two, the last two, they wouldn't have been necessary. It was just that they had come in. So it was like I already knew he was going to go for it. So I didn't have a problem just like giving him those two as well. And I think that actually made him just like a little bit more excited because it was like he was already planning to do it. And then it was like, oh shit, two more. Okay.
yeah,
So three.
that's
Honestly,
cool.
I think three is good.
That's cool. Well, I mentioned a few calls ago, but like sometimes I feel like, and this isn't like always the case, but like sometimes you'll start running your ads or whatever. You get a lead and then you send it to them. Then you don't get another lead for 3 days. Then you're like, well, crap. I don't want to like sound like there's this huge gap. So you almost lose the first business owner. The second business owner you find, you get like 3 leads at one point. You send him three like in 2 days, and he's like, how did that
Yeah.
happen? And then you just get some like the momentum's just cranking. They're just like, dude, this is awesome. Like, send me more. And it just
Yeah, for sure.
solidifying that deal even more.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Did you have any objections with this guy, or it is a guy, or is it a woman?
Yeah, it's a guy.
Some
Well, he had a lot of so this is he's a very established business owner.
uh
And my other business owner, he was a small business, like just started off. So very different vibe. So this guy, he has a receptionist, like he knows exactly what he's the questions to ask. But because I, kind of know what I'm doing a little bit, I was able to really, just answer the questions. And yeah, I mean, what were the objections? Like, honestly, like, not really. It was kind of like, how many leads can you guarantee me? That's
Those
right. That's
questions.
something. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like really confident about this site because it's been around for a while.
Mm.
So it's generating a lot. But I mean, I've learned before you don't need to guarantee anything, and that's totally fine.
Just understand.
Yeah, just like a general average. Like I would actually, there was times when I would guarantee like, oh, I can guarantee 10 a month, but it's like, just don't even put numbers on it. That's sort of my philosophy on that. It's like,
Yeah.
that there's going to be an ebb and flow. And I think just like being very forthcoming with people, like
Mm-hmm.
December is going to be different than July. And, this is why you sign a 6-month agreement, because you're going to have this sort of ebb and flow of things. And that's just how business works. So making it seem like, just no concrete numbers,
Yeah.
unless it's a flat fee, that's a concrete number.
That's true. No, and that's true. I've actually noticed that. Like my first couple, and I've lost a couple deals because of that. I feel like was because I oversold it. I was like, hey, like 15, like I was like, it was like 15, 15, and then I'm like, well, crap, like I got 12 last. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you get him 12 and you said 15, like they're gonna nitpick every reason why they can't do it. So I think you're
Yeah.
smart to say, if I got you 12, like what if? Like it's what if it's not 12? It's what if.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you
And I mean, and kind of putting it all up front, like, Nick talks about doing that, sort of, you're already bringing up the objections before they've even objected. So you're already touching on it. Like, yeah, you're going to have some months where it's super crazy. You're going to have some months, not so much. But there's like, and that's why you stick it out over the 6-month period. So yeah, I mean, I think just keeping it sort of vague, but then also touching on things that people are going to bring up in advance just eliminates the objection. So
I love it. No, that's so true. And so it sounds like this guy's pretty established, right? Like I almost think that there's a fine line between, and this is something I've had to learn, but like I've had Zoom calls where I'm like, dude, this guy's so solid. He's ready. He's great on the phone, but he's just not big enough. Like they're just not big enough to pay that type of money. And so I should have like pushed him off. I should have been like, hey, like how many, like, are you doing this full time or are you just like doing a side gig? Cause I don't want a side gig. And some people do that and they try to
yeah,
make it seem like they're this company, but they're really not. So you have to be very
right.
specific and selective about who you want to get on a call with.
Totally. And I think one of the biggest things that I did in the beginning, like I had lists of contractors and business owners that I wanted to call, but I was legit scared to call because I'm like, they're too successful. Like, what are they going to need me for? They probably have like a marketing team.
Yeah.
And that is like such the wrong mindset, because this guy actually has a website and he has a marketing guy. And
Wow.
it's like, but yet he's still, and because he's big enough where he's like, yeah, okay, I'll throw some money at you, see what you can do. Throw some money over here, see what you can do. And I didn't really have that. I didn't really grasp that. I thought that I should be going for kind of people that needed me like to get going. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, because to that guy, 1,800 a month is like a lot. Whereas to this guy who's really established, there's not as much on the line for him.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so
So
true. That's cool. And this is something I want to bring up as well. Like I had a call yesterday. Didn't go through sadly, but it was a good call. It's always just good to get on calls. And so I got on this call. I was like, okay, this guy seems really legit. I sent him like 4 leads. Seemed like a really good dude. Well, he was a smaller company, which I knew he did another job as well, but I kind of just thought he was like just doing it kind of for fun or whatever, not really seriously. So I got on the call, so cool, get to the end, pitch him the price. And like, dude, this sounds so good, but like, I just don't know if I'm like ready for this, like right now, like if I can handle this. And I was like, isn't that like a reason why you should be doing this? Like you say you want
yeah,
to do this full time, but like you're not willing to pay the money. Like if you're in this predicament and you want to get out of it and you want to stop working your job, you need to do something. And I need to say that, but like, you don't want to be rude and be like,
yeah,
well, what else are you going to do? Are you going to go with Angie's Home Advisor or are you just going to wait and just word of mouth? That's all you're going to do.
yeah.
So it's so frustrating, but every time I get off the call, I'm like, dude, if they would only realize that you need to do something. I mean, if you can do it, great, but most guys won't. So it's either this or you're gonna wait and you're just gonna have to suffer until someone finds you again.
Right. And
So
that's exactly what this whole thing is about, right? It's like you need to expedite. If you want success, you have to be able to be willing to invest to try to expedite it. Because you can take your time, and like that's what I've honestly done. I've, sort of, I've never really, like, this is the first program I've really invested in, and I was always afraid to, because it was like, but I'm not successful enough yet to invest. And it's like, that doesn't really make any sense. The only way, I don't know about most people watching, but like in my world, I'm not surrounded by entrepreneurial people.
uh-huh.
They're not in my circle. So it's like, sometimes you need to, like a business owner just starting out, he needs to invest in order to get where he wants to be.
Exactly.
So
It's just mindset, and I think
yeah,
it's hard for everyone to get out of. And like I bet if I was in his situation, I'd probably be the same way. Like I'm trying to count my pennies and I'm just trying to like cut costs. But like when you really realize it, like you got to spend money to make money. And the
100%.
best thing that you can invest in is yourself. And I think that's what people don't understand is like I know stuff's expensive. I know education, like schooling's not cheap, but like down the road, like your knowledge is worth all the money in the world.
Totally. Exactly.
So that's cool. So when did you, I know you've known about it for a while, but when did you find the free group, The Art of Pre-Selling?
That was in, I want to say it was like December of 20. Okay, so it's 2023. So that was like December 21. And I remember like watching, so I was watching YouTube. That's where I saw Nick. And then I found the free group and I was like, what's this all about? And I had actually heard of lead gen before that,
Uh,
but it was like other groups, and I don't know, they weren't like, you know, Nick's pretty charismatic. So I was like watching his videos and just like, oh, this is that thing I think I've heard about, but he kind of piqued my interest.
mhm.
And then yeah, joined the free group, and I just sort of absorbed as much as I could from the free group. And I knew that once I finished that semester of school, that I was going to really try to focus on it. And so I ended up, I don't think I joined the paid group until the summer, but yeah, it was just like I only had these pockets of time, right? So it was kind of like I was like, do I wait until I finish nursing school, or just do I start now and just do a little bit, like the move the needle thing, a little bit every day is better than nothing. So I
Yeah,
decided to just do it, and I knew it would take me longer than it would take me normally if I wasn't so busy. But I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to start and just see what happens. And I'm so glad I did, because now I'm finishing school and it's like I have this deal, and then the momentum of this without any of the other distractions, it's just going to be amazing. So
that's so cool. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of power, and especially like I know you've gotten the deal in the free group, but every deal you get, it's like you just get sucked in. You're just like, oh my gosh, like it's true. This is true. Like let's do
you're right.
everything we can to like make it happen. So that's really cool. So have you tried anything else, like any side hustles you would say? Like, have you tried anything else, or has this kind of been like your first venture on like the online world?
Well, I've researched a lot of things, but I never like, drop shipping, Amazon, like affiliate programs. What's that one where you sell like, yeah, it's like you sell weird programs. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a psychic reading package, and like just weird stuff, like just going down the rabbit hole on Google, like looking for passive income sources. Started a YouTube channel, tried that, sold like MLM. I did a bunch of different MLMs, and it never felt authentic because it wasn't my own.
Yeah,
The product didn't belong to me. And that's what's so awesome about this, because you own the assets. So to me, that was the game changer. It was like I actually had somebody say to me when I was talking about this deal, that sounds like a pyramid scheme. I'm like, you know what, dude? Anyone that says it sounds like a pyramid scheme is just a person that is like refuses to see what's right in front of them. And I just thought that's so funny. Like,
yeah.
I actually own the asset. So,
That's
but yeah, so it's definitely, what else have I done? I started a clothing line, tried that,
uh,
and the overhead is just absurd. Like, to try to start a clothing line and then sell it and make any money. So when I found this, that's why I was like, when you look at like the costs versus how it can expand. And it doesn't compare really to anything else I've seen. So
That's cool. That's so cool. Well, and it's funny
yeah.
that you mentioned that about someone calling it a pyramid scheme. I had one guy and he was like, dude, I'm just so glad that I don't live in this, or he's like an older guy, so he was kind of like on the outs, but he's like, I just can't believe the way that this world's going. And I was like, yeah, it's changed a lot. Like, sorry, like, and he was just like kind of like weirded out by the fact that I didn't live in the same state and was like taking someone, he thought I was taking people's business. I was like, no, I'm actually like redirecting it and helping somebody. Like people just don't understand, but like you're gonna get haters.
Right.
Always.
Oh yeah.
Like so funny.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, let's get some. We got 15 people on, guys. I'm freaking stoked. I might even throw the couch
Yay,
out for
that's
some
fun.
questions. So, what is your goal for the next like 6 months? What's like a number goal? Like, what do you want to get to in 6 months?
Well, now I feel like I know what I'm doing. So, before I was sort of blindly like, building things, not really knowing what I was doing, but now I know exactly what I'm doing. So my goal is really pretty clear. It's like I have those 2 days a week that my son's going to be in daycare, and I'm going to just sort of, the one thing I need to do is iron out the way I keep track of things. So I literally have like a binder where I write things down. That's clearly not going to work. So I'm just looking at ways that I can scale what I already have. Working with a partner to sort of outsource some things. I already do have some relationships that I've built through the group, and that's what's so awesome about the group, is that you can make those connections. So basically, my focus is just on getting another site up and just taking things one step at a time. But of course, I'm going to make a map and I'm going to plan like what I want to hit in the next 6 months. I just haven't quite done that.
Yeah.
But after tomorrow, when my last exam is done, I'll be making a plan. But yeah, essentially it's just to grow it as big as I can grow it. So
I love it.
yeah.
That's cool. Cool. Well, let's see if we got any questions right now. But this was awesome. Let's see. Okay, Andy said, do what you can with the time that you have is peak nursing thinking. Congrats on graduating and you got deals. Impressive. So
Thank you.
Andy, just throwing some love out. I love it.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything while we're sitting here waiting? Is there anything you'd like to add? Like any just little like get on your soapbox and preach for a second? Like, is there anything that you'd like to add or say to everybody right now?
Yeah, I mean, just like, it sounds so cliche, but legitimately just keep going. Like, just keep going. I mean, as a person that has tried a lot of things and quit, I can tell you, I am so glad that I did not give up. And it's all of those little actions, like we talk about that's talked about in the group, all those little anecdotes, all those little like golden nuggets, those are all just like, just keep plugging forward and every day doing a little bit, because I'm telling you, if I could get a deal with the circumstances that I've been in recently, and I'm telling you, like making prospecting calls from the YMCA gym, change room, like in the stall, making calls, like that kind of crazy stuff where you're like, I mean, I shouldn't be doing this. Sitting in my car on my laptop with my phone with a cracked screen as a hotspot to get an internet connection. Those sorts of things, like just going out, like outside of your comfort zone. I would feel like, well, I can't make calls because I don't have a nice place like this to sit in today. That's just all the lies that you tell yourself to not act, so just like constant action, really, just failing forward.
That's awesome. Well, and
Yeah.
I think that has a lot of, I just think, yeah, doing the work, don't worry about the perfect situation, because you're never going to be in the perfect spot at the right time with the right people. Like if you don't start now, you're never going to start. So just, I don't care where you're at, just do it. So
well, yeah, when you think about it, if I hadn't have joined when I did, because I was nervous too, because I knew I wouldn't be able to move as fast, and I was kind of embarrassed about how slow I had been going, like, dang, like I really like wanted to be going faster, but now here we are and the time has passed, right? And now I'm in a way different position than I was in a month ago.
exactly.
So you just don't know how it's going to manifest.
You're
So
this close from gold, baby. You're this close.
yeah, right. Yes.
Well, last thing I'd like to add, we got 17 people on. I just want to say this last thing. I've been thinking a lot, like me and my dad were driving around our farm roads and we were just chatting one day and we were like, man, like I don't even know how it came up, but we were just talking about like just kind of business in general, talking about the farm and everything. And my dad was like, yeah, he said, it's so hard to like not want to do everything. He said, my biggest thing is trying to put my feet in everything. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
and I was like, it's so true. Like we as people, we love starting books, but we hate to finish them. Like the grass is always, it's gonna look greener everywhere we go. So like the grass is green here, like freaking just stay here, gut it out. This, you can be successful at this, you can be successful at that. But like it checks all the boxes. Why not be good at it? Like that's the crazy thing. Every time I'm like, this is the business model. This is what I want to do. It lines up with everything that I want to do, and I don't know why I can't make it work.
Yeah.
What's that?
100%. I've definitely been tempted off of it too. Like just when things weren't happening fast enough, it was like, oh, I could get into GMBs, or yeah, maybe I could just do a little bit of SEO or something. And I just kept it in my mind, like, no, you're just going to focus. And it's going to eventually pan out, essentially.
So true. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. We appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everybody. Doesn't look like we have any he said, Trevor said, did you have any of your ads get suspended during the deal process?
No. So and it's kind of crazy because I've witnessed that with so many people seeing that. And I think the biggest thing that I've heard and just sort of absorbed, and I'm not an ads expert at all, but just like, don't overthink the ad. Like just literally do exactly what you're told to do in the group and the training, and don't mess with it. Don't tweak it. Don't do crazy stuff to it. Just keep it super simple and just let it go. Just let it run. Because that's what I've done and nothing's happened.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I've gotten the habit of tweaking little things, and then you wait and wait and wait, and by the time you wasted $1,000 because you kept touching it, it's like just let it sit there and don't touch it.
Yeah, and obviously do your DD, your due diligence correctly, so you're not trying to, get ads in a city or you're not in a city that's you have low chances where you're going to be blowing a lot of money on ads. So that obviously is important too.
So true.
Yes.
Well, cool. Well, thanks everybody. We got another one, baby. I guess we're not. And Alex said, any suggestions on getting addresses for GMPs? GBPs. They keep changing.
GMB?
Well, I think they changed it. So I think it's GBP now.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I don't even know what it was. It was Google My Business, GMB, and then I don't know, maybe it's GBPs now. So
Yeah, so how I got that was super easy. I just, you just treat it like it's not even a big deal. And it's like, you're talking to the business owner, he's already agreed, and you're like, all right, cool. So I just need your address. Just because there's going to be a card that you're going to get in the mail, a little postcard. You just need to text a picture of that when you get it. And that just helps us rank higher faster.
Love it. Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate. Just like you need the address anyway, so just get the address. Say, hey, I need help with this. Like it's with the deal. Like it just helps me get more calls.
Yeah, like all they need to know is it's going to get them more business. And if you treat it just like, yeah, just take a quick pic with your phone when you get that little postcard, and then yeah. And no, in my experience, people that do that, no one ever says, well, I don't understand. Tell me more about this.
I know. People don't care. They want the calls. That's all they care about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. Alex said, how many Zoom calls did you have before making this deal? Also, it was concrete, and then they said, congrats. But how many is this like the first Zoom call with the first business owner, or did you have more before this?
No, this was the fourth. And the 3 calls that I had were really good, and I thought for sure they would do it. And then they were like, they just didn't. So, and you do have those thoughts of like, oh my God, like what is going on here? But you just have to like brush yourself off, go in the group, type a rant, then people will hype you up, and then you're like back to the drawing board again. So
exactly. And honestly, like sometimes it's good to hear your failures. Like you guys freaking get on a call and it goes crappy. Who cares? Like it's how business. Stop getting so emotional about it. Like just every single day, let's get better.
Yeah, exactly. And like I would test out different stuff. I would wear different outfits. I'd look more professional, more casual, like just to see, just test. So
Yep.
if you think about each Zoom call, it's just like, I mean, I just did like 6 interviews for nursing jobs. With
Mhm.
each one, I just got better and better, right? And it just, you get different questions asked, and then all of a sudden after 4 Zoom calls, you've heard all sorts of different things. You know what to say. So with every call you make, you just become more of an expert, really, is what it comes down to.
So true. I love it. And we could talk all day about it because
Yes.
I don't know, I love talking about it because it just gets you excited. There's so much we could cover, but I think
Yes.
that's all we got right now. So,
Okay.
Braden said, which outfit did you find best, the casual or the looking professional?
Honestly, I don't think it mattered.
I don't think it does either.
No, I don't think it mattered at all. But I will say this, see, I'm in a nice space right now. This is a nice little office suite. When I have a nice backdrop and a nice clean work environment, I feel more confident. I feel better. So doing it in like your basement, because I've done that. I've recorded screencasts in the basement, lighting's bad, clutter in the background. No, just
No.
as long as you can keep the background looking as clean as possible, it'll make you feel better. Like you'll come to it with a level head and you'll feel more confident. So that's what I would recommend on that. Like I don't think you need to wear like a button up or anything like too fancy.
Yeah. I don't think so either. I think they can tell when you mean business. So I just think the way that you act is going to be enough for them. If like you feel more confident and you feel like you can act more professional wearing a shirt and tie, do it. But
Exactly.
if you want to wear your shirt and tie, like I know Nick does his calls in a tank top over there in Africa, like or his
Yeah,
wife beater. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll do whatever, but whatever you can get done and how you feel the most confident and do it.
that's exactly. I would agree with that.
So what did this? Oh yeah, Sean said Nick wore a sombrero to close the deal, proving you can wear anything. Exactly. Like
Right?
just do it. Just wear
Exactly.
whatever. All
Wear
right,
whatever.
cool. Thanks so much, Rachel. Appreciate you being on here. But we'll talk soon. Thanks everybody for being on.
All right. Thank you guys. Bye bye.